What's up, everybody? I'm a teleworker, and today we're talking about some DC news. Last year was a great year for superhero fans, both Marvel and DC. Both fans got something they have always wanted. We got a Spider-Man multiverse movie from Marvel, which was a smash hit and is now Sony's highest grossing movie of all time. But for DC fans, we were rewarded with finally getting to see Zack Snyder's Justice League. For a lot of fans, that was very rewarding. I know it's not for everyone, and not everyone loved it, not everyone wanted it, but it was far better than the theatrical release version. The biggest issue we have today as DC fans is Warner Brothers aggressively scrubbing the Snyder movies from their slate. So this is coming from IGN directly. Ben Affleck has confirmed that The Flash will be his final appearance as Batman. Now, we also thought that Justice League was his final appearance as Batman, but he still came back for Zack Snyder and for this. So, realistically, when the Discovery merger goes through, if they decide that they want Ben Affleck back as Batman because they think that the Snyderverse will make a lot of money, they may very well convince Ben Affleck to come back. Considering the fact that we've had it done once. A lot of people that got to see his script allegedly said that it was very good, and the movie was going to revolve around Batman versus Deathstroke, which I know is something a lot of fans have wanted for a long time on the big screen. If you are a fan of the Zack Snyder movies, you may be asking why. Why are they getting rid of these characters? And the true answer is no one fucking knows. We have no clue. They are aggressively destroying the universe they built for years. Maybe they have plans to build a better universe, but the only thing that they've really announced so far is that they're going to focus on diversity, which could be very good or it could be very bad. We have no idea where that's really going to go, except for with a few characters. Now, I think diversity and inclusion is great, and I think we do need more of that in superhero movies. But I think the way that a lot of these films have gone about it is the wrong way, and I'll explain. Warner Brothers has confirmed that their Black Superman movie will not be Val Zod. It's possible that it's Calvin Ellis because he is also named Kal-El just without the hyphen, but given what they say in this article, I don't think that's the case. So, it says here DC Films and Warner Brothers Superman reboot will reportedly center on a black version of Kal-El, not Val Zod. Kal-El is spelled with the hyphen, but that could be a verbal miscommunication. A lot of people don't know that there's different versions of Kal-El specifically. But here's why I don't think it's Calvin Ellis. It says that sources for The Hollywood Reporter say Coates, who is writing the movie, is crafting a Kal-El from the vein of the original Superman comics and will have the protagonist hail from Krypton and come to Earth. If that sounds familiar, it's because that's the plot for Man of Steel. Basically, what they're saying is that this will be a black Clark Kent, which I think people are going to attack this movie, whether it is good or not. This is not something the majority of fans were calling for. People, myself included, want DC's black heroes brought onto the screen, but we don't want race change versions of the other heroes. We want you to give the proper time and care to a full-fledged black hero that you've already written. I think that the best way to go about this would be to bring in characters that the general audience are already kind of familiar with. Now, with all the drama with Ray Fisher, who weirdly enough accused them of some racist behavior with Justice League, and now all of a sudden he doesn't work for them anymore. Ray Fisher is not attached to Warner Brothers anymore, which means that, according to us, we don't know for sure, but from what we know, there is no more Cyborg, which is a huge black character. People love Cyborg. So they got rid of Cyborg. Zack Snyder's Justice League was introducing Martian Manhunter, another great black superhero that people know from a lot of the animated stuff, now doesn't exist because the Snyder Cut is not canon. For the diehard fans that were really paying attention, Ryan Choi, also known as The Atom, an Asian superhero, was in Zack Snyder's Justice League as well, but now he is also not canon. I think that DC has tons of diverse characters that people would love to see. Erasing a universe just to make one with a bunch of race changed versions of characters is not a good idea. I think that is going to get them a lot of trouble, and I think it may actually do worse than Zack Snyder's movies did, even with all the studio interference. And as a DC fan, I don't want to see that. I want to see these movies do well. I want to see DC do well, and I think that they are trying everything under the sun to catch up with Marvel as fast as possible. But the only way you can do it is if you do the groundwork, and they don't want to do the groundwork. Rather than slowly build their universe and give their heroes they already have solo movies, they are removing those heroes and replacing them with seemingly more politically charged versions of those heroes. The reason I say that is that in this exact quote that I was reading, it says, "Beyond that, the film has the potential to be a period piece set sometime in the 20th century." Now, a period piece could mean two things. It could be for nostalgia purposes. Either it will be set way in the past, more close to when Superman was actually introduced, or it will be a nostalgia thing for adults now, maybe in the 80s or the 90s. But outside of nostalgia, it could be for some type of political plotline. That, for example, they could introduce a black Superman during the civil rights movement, and then, while I think that would be a cool plot to have around the movie, I think that doing that with Clark Kent's character is not a good idea. I think that is too big of a step away from the Clark Kent that the fans know, and I think regardless, like I said, regardless of how good this movie is, people will hate it, and I don't want to see that happen. I think it's unfair to the writers. I think it's unfair to the studio, for they're going to put a bunch of time and money and effort. All the people who work on the movie are going to work really hard, and they will ultimately be attacked no matter what they do because they changed Clark Kent. And I think that is a problem. They are changing literally the most popular version of the most popular superhero of all time, other than Batman and Spider-Man. Now, like I said, they might not be race changing Clark Kent specifically, because if you say Kal-El, you're not saying the hyphen. It's just how it's spelled with the hyphen. So realistically, everybody could be reading into this wrong. It could be Calvin Ellis, which is a version of Superman no one has ever seen done, which actually holds a lot of ground. There's a lot of breathing room. They could do a lot of new and interesting things. We could have a Superman that looks completely different, a Superman with a completely different suit, a different backstory, and then they can play with those elements that involve his race. But I think if you take the classic Clark Kent story and kind of just throw identity politics at it, I think that is going to upset a lot of people, no matter how good the movie is. I think they should do what Marvel is doing with the way that they've been introducing their minority-led films. Like they had Black Panther. The impact of that movie was massive. They should be making movies that their minority fans will be proud of. I think when Marvel made Black Panther, it was something that everybody loved. Comic book fans ate it up. The average audience ate it up. And Black Panther is a cool, unique character because you could bring African culture into the film, and they used a black director, and but the soundtrack was done exclusively by black artists, and it was a very powerful thing. And they did something similar with Shang-Chi when they brought in a fight choreographer from the Jackie Chan films because they wanted it to feel like a Chinese action movie. And they put a lot of Chinese culture into the character, and they spent time kind of working through how to make that character not a stereotype, but to stand on his own. He is now like a character that everyone, including me, is excited to see come back. We want to see a sequel. We want to see him in the Avengers. We want to see him around. We want to see more of him. I think that DC needs to make those characters that they have. All complaining aside, there is other news that is exciting. For example, we're getting a Blue Beetle movie. Uh, Blue Beetle is a character that I'm very interested in. I think he's very cool. I like him in the animated stuff, and I actually own his first appearance in Crisis on Infinite Earths. So I am excited to see him come into the screen. I think that that's a really cool character for them to do. That will be the first Latino-led superhero movie, which I think is really cool. And that, I think, is how they should be doing it. You bring the characters that are already created for those groups, those characters that are created with an identity that matches them. I think, Blue Beetle is a great step in the right direction. Now, with the Flash movie, it seems like what they are going to do is permanently replace Ben Affleck with Michael Keaton. This is cool and not cool for two different reasons. Because one, we already had a universe that set up an older Batman that was more experienced and more of a mentor type figure with Ben Affleck. So this is literally just an excuse to get rid of Ben Affleck, if that's all they're going to do with him. However, it opens up a possibility for something that the fans have actually asked for, which is an older Bruce Wayne in the Batman Beyond storyline. A lot of people around my age have been calling for a Batman Beyond movie, and a lot of the older fans, their genius idea for it was to place it within Tim Burton's universe, and you could have Michael Keaton just be Bruce Wayne. He doesn't have to be Batman. He could be the mentor figure, and I think that that is actually a really cool idea. I think the fans want to see that. If that is the direction that they are going, I think ultimately a lot of fans will be happy to see Keaton back. I think that that's a pretty big deal for all of us. But we'll see. I personally don't know a lot of people that are, jumping at the opportunity to buy Flash tickets. So we'll see what happens, I guess. Maybe if the Flash movie does not do as good as they expect, they will change their minds. But I'm pretty sure what they're going to do with this movie is basically restart the universe so that Man of Steel never happened, and then the Flash and Aquaman and Wonder Woman, their movies kind of take place outside of Justice League anyways, so I think they're just going to ignore the fact that Justice League ever happened. Comment down below and let me know what you guys think. I'm very curious to hear everybody's thoughts on this. Do you think it will be better without Ben Affleck, or would you like to see him return? And do you think that DC's diversity angle to their universe is a smart move, or do you think that ultimately it will meet some backlash? I am genuinely curious to hear what everyone's thoughts are on this. If you are excited for Black Superman or you're not, or whatever, I would love to hear everyone's actual reasons for it. Personally, I think the premise for a Black Superman is very exciting, but if all they are going to do is race change Clark Kent and make the exact same movie we just had, I will be upset. But that's all for this one. I just kind of wanted to share the news and kind of rant a little, so let me know if you guys want to see more videos like this, and I'll see you guys later.